Okay, Allie, just kind of showing you how I go through this sheet with the kids. This is the first one that I do with them. I don't collect this one, I don't correct this one. It is just practice because a lot of this is just brand new to these kids. As far as the sheets, uh, I don't do this at all. I just tell them to cross that out. And this depends on my mood. Oops. Um, I'll get to that later. So that page is iffy. This is the page I really want them to do. And when I start with them, I always put all sorts of reminders at the top of a lot of their pages. And so this is what I start with the kids, and I fill this in with the kids. I find that if I have to write it with them, it slows me down and it helps them keep pace with me. So I just start introducing stuff this way. These are the reminders or the tips that I really want them to remember. Number of protons equals the atomic number. Let's see, what else? The mass number is equal to the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. And the number of neutrons equals the mass number minus the number of protons. Outside of that, we will look at the periodic table for everything that we need. Other things that I give the kids, again, some of this is a reminder for them, but I like to give it to them just so they have it. That number is and again, I'm encouraging kids to write this stuff down as I do it because, again, a lot of this is new to them. It's been a while since they've had it. And so that's what I put on the sheet before we even get started with it. Excuse me. And I give the kids the time to write that because those are a lot of the pieces that I want them to remember. I need them to get used to start kind of tattooing to their brains so that they can use their periodic table more effectively. And so once they're done doing that, I'll go through sulfur with them, and then I also have them loaded up, and I already loaded this up for you, periodic table. There's 2 pages. This page tells the kids we're just not ready for it yet. So we'll get to the oxidation numbers, polyatomic ions in future units. Right now, we're just going to focus here. And for this unit, I don't think we really add anything to the periodic table. The kids are just getting used to it. So I'll zoom in on it, and I'll even do this. Okay, there's sulfur. And so filling in what we need to know. So there it is. And so I'm doing this on the screen with them. I'm going back and forth just so they're seeing the process of how to fill in this sheet. And so atomic number, we've got the information that we need, already filled that in. So atomic number is 16. Oh, something else that we have to do up here. Number of protons equals the number of electrons. I forgot about that one. And so include that as well when you're doing that first part. Sorry about that. So the atomic number is 16, and then I'll always draw arrows like that because if I know the atomic number, I know the protons is 16, and I know the electrons is 16. And sometimes I'll do something like this just to remind them, that we're using those facts, and that's how I figured that stuff out. That protons equals the atomic number, and then the number of protons equals the number of electrons. It just simplifies things. So I'll just kind of highlight, but then I get rid of those highlights because it gets to be a little bit too confusing. Atomic mass, I tell the kids we're going to take this number, and we're just going to round it to the nearest whole number using our standard rounding rules. At this stage of the game, we don't have to get any more particular than that. So I'm just going to round that to 32, and then we usually don't put that, but that's atomic mass units. Say, hey kids, we talked about that in the notes. That's the unit that we use. And so now in order to get the number of neutrons, again, I'll kind of do this. I have to do some subtraction. 32 minus 16 is 16. And kids note, all three are 16, but that doesn't happen all the time. That just happened for this one for sulfur. But that's how we filled it in. And then, I'll ask them if they have any questions. All right, let's try the next one. Next one is iodine. Atomic number is 53. I'm going to use that 53 to help me find it on the periodic table a little faster because I don't know what the symbol for iodine is. So I'm going to go here and remember atomic numbers. Remember, they increase. There they are. 3, 4, 5. They're increasing by 1. I've got to get all the way to 53, so they just increase. Well, there's atomic number 53. So again, you're trying to show the kids just ways to use the periodic table to get to know it better, to use relationships, and just understand it a little better. So iodine, there it is. It's a capital I. Again, I'm doing this with them. I'm toggling back and forth so that they can see my process for answering this. So capital I. Atomic number is 53. And again, I'll do arrows the first couple times because those are always the same. Atomic mass. I'm going to round that. 126.9 rounds up to 127. 127. And again, atomic, we just don't see that very often. I put it there that first time just so they remember. And then I do my subtraction. 127 minus 53 is 4. 12 minus 5 is 74. And so I'll go through those first couple with them. And then I'll kind of let them loose. I always go up to this one, and I get to that Mn, and I remind the kids, I go over to the periodic table, and I show them these two. And I'm a big fan of manganese and magnesium are not the same. So just showing them that because, again, they're not used to looking at the periodic table, and oftentimes they'll go back and forth between manganese and magnesium and use them interchangeably, not realizing that they're separate elements. So then I'll give them that little tip, and then all right, you guys start working on it. Go through these on your own, and then they start working on them because they kind of see how to do it. They watched you toggle back and forth between the periodic table, and then they can fill this in. And I'll be wandering around the room, and I'm watching their progress. I'm answering questions. I usually kind of make them work on it on their own, and then as kids are finishing up, what I will do is I'll as a class, I'll go through 1 or 2 in this row, and then maybe 1 more in that row. So kind of went through the first 2 together, and then there's a total of 6 more. And then you decide if you want to go through more. But I don't collect this one. I don't score it because it's brand new to the kids, and they're really just getting used to the math. They're getting used to the periodic table, and it's just a nice way to ease them into it. So that's what I do with this one. As far as this sheet, it's up to you. This is just more practice of the same. So over there, I put depends on my mood. Look at the amount of time. If you've got lots of time in class, have them go fill this in. Tell them it's the exact same as the table above. We use the same type of thing. Sodium, go back and, for sodium right here, they're only have to fill in one thing though. Tell them up here they had to fill in 5 or 6 different things. Down here, they're just filling in one. Sodium, go back to your periodic table, find sodium, and then symbol, carbon atomic number 6. The kids would just have to fill this in on their own. Fe is iron. But they would do this whole sheet on their own. Atomic number, same as the protons. And I'm just filling some of these in from memory. Number of neutrons, I would take 14 minus 7, and I would get 7. Oxygen, I would take, and I'd break this stuff on the screen if I go through it with them because I'm taking protons plus neutrons to get the mass number. 35 minus 17 would get me, whatever that is, that 18. So again, you can have them complete this, but have them do it on their own, and then go through it with the class, calling on one kid at a time. Just, hey, what'd you get for your answer? Work through it with them. If they're right, have them explain it. If they're wrong, oh no, you're wrong. Let's try to figure out why you were wrong, and get the right answer. But again, it's just getting used to seeing this stuff.